Question 1. In distinguishing civil fraud from criminal fraud, which element is unique to criminal fraud and must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt? A. Intent to deceive. B. Financial loss. C. Willful misconduct or mens rea. D. Restitution to victim. Answer C. Willful misconduct or mens rea. Explanation. Civil fraud requires intent and loss, proven by preponderance of evidence. Criminal fraud additionally demands guilty mind, mens rea, a deliberate intent to defraud, proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Restitution is a remedy, not element. Requirements stem from case law and penal codes across jurisdictions. Question 2. Which application of Benford's law is most appropriate when auditing large, naturally occurring datasets like accounts receivable aging? A. Spot check low digits only. B. Compare first-digit distribution to expected logarithmic frequency. C. Use for uniform or assigned serial numbers. D. Apply only to fabricated vendor invoices. Answer B. Compare first-digit distribution to expected logarithmic frequency. Explanation. Benford's law predicts a logarithmic distribution of first digits. 1 appears, percent, 9 tilde 4, 6%. Deviation suggests manipulation. It's unsuitable for assigned IDs or uniform numbers. Best for natural financial data. Knowing data nature is essential before use in detection frameworks. Question 3. Mrs. Santos, CFO of a mid-size Philippine company, receives an urgent email allegedly from the CEO asking to transfer $5 million to a priority vendor account. The email domain differs by one letter, and the vendor account is offshore. Mrs. Santos notices no previous dealings with this vendor. What should Mrs. Santos do first? A. Immediately transfer funds due to CEO urgency. B. Reply asking for invoice and documentation. C. Call CEO on a known number to confirm request. D. Report to it in compliance, then delay the transfer. Answer D. Report to it in compliance, then delay the transfer. Explanation. This is a classic business email compromise (BEC) scenario. The most prudent step is to escalate, report to IT security for domain verification, and compliance legal for fraud assessment before any transfer. Calling CEO is good, but protocol requires notifying compliance to preserve audit trail. This aligns with digital fraud frameworks and internal cybersecurity controls. Question 4. Which of the following best exemplifies the legal concept of conspiracy in fraud cases? A. A freelancer falsifies timesheets. B. Two employees agree to create fake vendor invoices. C. An accountant commits unauthorized access. D. A whistleblower reports malfeasance. Answer B. Two employees agree to create fake vendor invoices. Explanation. Conspiracy exists when two or more agree to commit a fraud with at least one overt act in furtherance. Solo fraud doesn't qualify. Unauthorized access is hacking. Reporting is whistleblowing. Conspiracy holds co-conspirators criminally liable even if they don't execute the fraud themselves. Question 5. In fraud analytics, how does continuous transaction monitoring differ fundamentally from exception reporting? A. Both are historical snapshots. B. Exception reporting flags anomalies at set intervals. Continuous monitoring is real time. C. Continuous applies only to large firms. D. Exception reporting requires AI. Answer B. Exception reporting flags anomalies at set intervals. Continuous monitoring is real time. Explanation. Exception reports are periodic, daily, weekly, while continuous monitoring analyzes live streams, alerting on anomalies instantly. This real-time aspect is critical to early detection and responds faster to emerging red flags, key to digital fraud frameworks and compliance programs. Question 6. Mr. Reyes, A systems admin notices suspicious activity. Multiple failed login attempts followed by a successful access to payroll files at 3 a.m. Company policy mandates immediate reporting. He is unsure if it's a supervisor's oversight or malicious. What should Mr. Reyes do next? A. Wait until morning to ask supervisor. B. Ignore it if the supervisor has weekend duties. C. Immediately report the incident to the security team and log the incident. D. Manually alert the payroll manager via email. Answer C. Immediately report the incident to the security team and log the incident. Explanation. Under IT governance frameworks and social compliance practices, any suspicious login out of policy behavior must be immediately escalated and documented. Early escalation ensures evidence preservation and prevents potential data breaches. Question 7. What evidentiary standard applies when presenting digital evidence at a criminal fraud trial under Philippine rules of evidence? A. Preponderance of evidence. B. Prima facie. C. Clear and convincing. D. Beyond reasonable doubt. Answer D. Beyond reasonable doubt. Explanation. Criminal trials require proof beyond a reasonable doubt, whether digital or physical. Philippine digital evidence needs proper authentication under the Electronic Commerce Act, RA 8792, and adherence to chain of custody rules. Preponderance applies only to civil cases. Question 8. In data analytics, what is the key benefit of building a risk scoring model using key risk indicators, KRIs? A. Eliminates need for audits. B. Quantifies fraud risk based on weighted indicators. C. Requires no historical data. D. Only detects external fraud. Answer B. Quantifies fraud risk based on weighted indicators. Explanation. KRI-based risk scoring assigns weights to relevant metrics, e.g., override frequency, vendor changes, to quantify fraud exposure. It helps prioritize investigative focus. KRIs complement audit and continuous monitoring. They don't replace them and need historical data and governance. Question 9. Dr. Lim submits a claim to a healthcare insurer for a rare procedure, providing forged medical records suggesting it's medically necessary. The insurer begins an investigation and refers to the False Claims Remedy and Recovery Act. What is the insurer required to prove to sustain a civil fraud claim under such statute? A. That Dr. Lim had intent to defraud, and insurer relied on false records causing loss. B. That Dr. Lim profited from the procedure. C. That insurer audits were insufficient. D. That medical professional misconduct occurred. Answer A. That Dr. Lim had intent to defraud, and insurer relied on false records causing loss. Explanation. Under false claim statutes, the key civil elements are false claim, intent to deceive, submission of fraudulent records and resulting loss. Profit or malpractice aren't necessary. Reliance and loss to the insurer anchor the remedy. Question 10. Which behavior signifies a strong red flag of possible fraud during payroll analytics? A. A payroll clerk works overtime. B. Multiple payroll entries for the same bank account with different employee IDs. C. Uniform salary increases across all staff. D. No payroll overrides in 6 months. Answer B. Multiple payroll entries for the same bank account with different employee IDs. Explanation. Duplicate bank accounts across different IDs hint at ghost employees or misappropriation. Uniform increases likely reflect policy. Excessive overrides might also be suspicious, but none is as indicative as duplicate account usage. Question 11. How does the use of data visualization tools enhance fraud detection when compared to traditional spreadsheets? A. It simplifies financial forecasting. B. It improves collaboration across audit departments. C. It allows quick identification of anomalies and relationships in large data sets. D. It eliminates false positives in exception reporting. Answer C. It allows quick identification of anomalies and relationships in large data sets. Explanation. Visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI enable investigators to detect patterns, outliers, and relationships, e.g., duplicate vendors, clusters of small transactions below approval thresholds, that would be difficult to identify in raw data. This accelerates fraud analytics and supports red flag identification. Question 12. Ms. Fernandez is being investigated for using two supplier accounts to overcharge her employer for cleaning services. She claims that the payments went to different departments and denies criminal intent. The prosecutor seeks to establish fraudulent intent and misrepresentation as part of the criminal case. Which action would most strengthen the prosecution's case? A. Showing lack of internal controls. B. Demonstrating vendor bank accounts trace back to Ms. Fernandez. C. Proving the company's cleaning policy was unclear. D. Highlighting Ms. Fernandez's prior disagreements with finance. Answer B. Demonstrating vendor bank accounts trace back to Ms. Fernandez. Explanation. In criminal fraud, intent and personal benefit are crucial. Proving the accounts are linked to her personally substantiates misappropriation and intent, satisfying the willful deception requirement under criminal fraud statutes. Question 13. What makes phishing especially dangerous from a fraud detection standpoint? A. It always involves malware installation. B. It is typically blocked by firewalls. C. It exploits human psychology and bypasses technical defenses. D. It only targets financial institutions. Answer C. It exploits human psychology and bypasses technical defenses. Explanation. Phishing relies on social engineering, not just technology. It often fools users into voluntarily surrendering credentials. Because it manipulates trust and urgency, it's harder to detect via standard firewalls and is a leading entry point for business email compromise (BEC) frauds. Question 14. Which of the following represents a valid limitation of using AI in fraud detection systems? A. AI cannot detect anomalies. B. AI replaces human judgment. C. AI may produce false positives due to biased training data. D. AI eliminates the need for financial audits. Answer C. AI may produce false positives due to biased training data. Explanation. AI models are only as effective as their training data. If biased or incomplete, they can generate false alerts, misclassify legitimate activity, or misnuance schemes. AI assists but does not replace human oversight or structured auditing. Question 15. Mr. Chow, a procurement manager, receives an offer from a certified cloud supplier, requiring immediate wire transfer to secure a contract discount. The supplier email includes real company branding, but links to a suspicious payment gateway. Internal IT reports a domain spoofing attempt. What principle of cybersecurity was most violated in this incident? A. Defense in depth. B. Principle of least privilege. C. Email encryption. D. Domain name system, integrity and validation. Answer D. Domain name system integrity and validation. Explanation. This attack used spoofed domain names, violating DNS security principles. Proper SPF, DKIM, and DMARC policies help prevent this. The case highlights the risk of spoofed authenticity, commonly seen in cyber-enabled procurement frauds. Question 16. Which of the following best explains why hearsay evidence is usually inadmissible in criminal fraud cases? A. It cannot be electronically verified. B. It is considered unreliable, and deprives the accused of cross-examination. C. It leads to lengthy trials. D. It can be used only by expert witnesses. Answer B. It is considered unreliable and deprives the accused of cross-examination. Explanation. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement presented for the truth of the matter. In criminal law, defendants have a right to confront witnesses under constitutional principles, e.g., Sixth Amendment in the U.S., or equivalent protections elsewhere, ensuring fair trial and evidentiary integrity. Question 17. When performing a net worth analysis to investigate suspected embezzlement, which factor is most critical? A. Employee's marital status. B. Correlation between lifestyle and known income. C. Number of dependents. D. Publicly known social activities. Answer B. Correlation between lifestyle and known income. Explanation. Net worth analysis tracks unexplained wealth by comparing an individual's assets, liabilities, and spending patterns against known income. A mismatch can imply hidden income or misappropriated funds. It's a widely accepted method in forensic accounting and IRS investigations. Question 18. Ms. Ayala, a senior accountant, backdated a revenue recognition entry to boost quarterly earnings, intending to correct it later. Auditors discover the manipulation before release. The company reports the incident. Which statement best applies to this case? A. It is not fraud if the intent was to adjust later. B. Backdating with intent to mislead stakeholders qualifies as financial statement fraud. C. It's an internal control issue, not fraud. D. Since the quarter hasn't closed, it's not material. Answer B. Backdating with intent to mislead stakeholders qualifies as financial statement fraud. Explanation. Financial statement fraud includes timing manipulations like backdating to inflate performance. Even temporary or corrected falsification can mislead decision-makers, regulators, and investors, violating laws such as the Sarbanes-Oxley Act (SOX). Question 19. What is the main purpose of digital forensics in fraud investigations? A. To retrieve deleted data and reset system logs. B. To investigate security patches. C. To gather, preserve, and analyze digital evidence while maintaining legal admissibility. D. To monitor employee emails continuously. Answer C. To gather, preserve, and analyze digital evidence while maintaining legal admissibility. Explanation. Digital forensics follows strict protocols to ensure the chain of custody and forensic soundness, making the evidence usable in court. It includes recovery of deleted files, metadata analysis, and system log reconstruction using validated tools. Question 20. Which of the following is the best example of using open-source intelligence, OSINT, for fraud investigations? A. Interrogating suspects in a controlled room. B. Reviewing public social media profiles for evidence of unexplained wealth. C. Accessing private government records. D. Reviewing employee payroll history. Answer B. Reviewing public social media profiles for evidence of unexplained wealth. Explanation. OSINT involves collecting legally available public information from online platforms, social media, registries, and forums. Detecting discrepancies in declared versus observed lifestyle is a common fraud indicator. OSINT must respect privacy laws and be ethically sourced. Question 21. Ms. Duong is the COO of a small tech firm. She approves the use of a third-party cloud payroll provider. A month later, all payroll data disappears due to a cloud misconfiguration exploited by attackers. Investigation reveals no backups were maintained. What cybersecurity control was most critically lacking? A. Intrusion detection systems. B. Antivirus protection. C. Secure application development. D. Data redundancy and backup protocols. Answer D. Data redundancy and backup protocols. Explanation: data redundancy and backups are essential parts of cloud governance under NIST and ISO 27001 frameworks. Misconfigurations can lead to data loss or breaches, but lack of data recovery capability worsens the damage. Question 22. What is a key limitation of relying solely on red flag checklists in detecting fraud? A. Red flags are typically conclusive. B. They can lead to confirmation bias and overlook emerging fraud trends. C. They are endorsed by auditing standards. D. They eliminate the need for interviews. Answer B. They can lead to confirmation bias and overlook emerging fraud trends. Explanation: while red flags are useful, they are not definitive proof. Over-reliance may blind investigators to new fraud schemes or atypical behaviors not on checklists. Investigative judgment and adaptive analytics are needed for deeper risk assessment. Question 23. Why is intent considered the most difficult element to prove in fraud investigations? A. It is usually documented. B. It must be proven through confession. C. It is a mental state, often inferred from circumstantial evidence. D. It is irrelevant in civil cases. Answer C. It is a mental state often inferred from circumstantial evidence. Explanation: intent mens rea is not often directly observable and must be inferred through behavior, documentation, or testimony. Courts accept circumstantial evidence, e.g., concealment, false documents, to prove it. It's critical in distinguishing fraud from negligence. Question 24. Mr. Yamada, an internal auditor, is assigned to a digital fraud case. He discovers that unauthorized payments were initiated via an exploited API in the finance software. Developers argue the API worked as designed. What's Mr. Yamada's best next step? A. Close the case since it's not internal fraud. B. Recommend retraining developers only. C. Assess for internal collusion and audit API access logs. D. Submit findings to HR. Answer C. Assess for internal collusion and audit API access logs. Explanation: exploiting APIs for fraud suggests access abuse, which may involve internal collusion or lacks API security. Reviewing logs and permissions helps determine if insider threat or external breach occurred. This aligns with NIST and OWASP recommendations. Question 25. What makes continuous auditing a valuable tool for proactive fraud detection? A. It replaces internal control frameworks. B. It involves real-time data analysis to detect anomalies or policy violations. C. It eliminates need for forensic accounting. D. It reduces audit team costs by 90%. Answer B. It involves real-time data analysis to detect anomalies or policy violations. Explanation: continuous auditing uses automated tools to analyze data flows in real time or near real time. It complements existing internal controls, enabling early detection of deviations from norms, such as duplicate payments or unapproved transactions. Question 26. Why is behavioral analysis considered a valuable supplement to financial data analysis in fraud investigations? A. It reduces audit time by skipping interviews. B. It focuses solely on background checks. C. It helps identify non-financial red flags such as stress, lifestyle changes, or isolation. D. It is only applicable to white-collar crime suspects. Answer C. It helps identify non-financial red flags such as stress, lifestyle changes, or isolation. Explanation: behavioral indicators, e.g., sudden wealth, defensiveness, stress, or job dissatisfaction, often precede fraud and are associated with the fraud triangle: pressure, opportunity, and rationalization. While not conclusive, they provide context and early warning signs when triangulated with transactional evidence. It supports techniques promoted in behavioral forensics and internal fraud risk assessments. Question 27. Mr. Camel, a regional sales director, created fictitious customers and processed fake sales to meet aggressive revenue targets. The inflated revenue was reported to investors, significantly boosting the company's share price. A whistleblower later exposed the scheme. Which legal charge is most applicable in this situation? A. Embezzlement. B. Insider trading. C. Financial statement fraud involving material misrepresentation. D. Simple accounting error. Answer C. Financial statement fraud involving material misrepresentation. Explanation. This is a classic example of revenue recognition fraud. By recognizing non-existent sales, Mr. Camel caused material misrepresentation of financial performance, violating principles under Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, GAAP, and laws like the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX. Fictitious entries for personal or organizational gain constitute criminal fraud, not accounting errors. Question 28. Which of the following best describes the purpose of implementing multi-factor authentication, MFA, in fraud prevention? A. To eliminate password requirements. B. To automate user provisioning. C. To add layers of security that reduce unauthorized access risk. D. To ensure encryption of email attachments. Answer C. To add layers of security that reduce unauthorized access risk. Explanation. MFA requires users to provide multiple credentials, e.g., password plus mobile token or biometrics, reducing the chance of account compromise through stolen credentials alone. It is a critical control in zero-trust architecture, supported by ISO 27001 and NIST SB 863 guidelines. Question 29. Which key feature distinguishes anomaly detection systems from traditional rule-based fraud filters? A. They do not require historical data. B. They rely solely on user input. C. They adapt to changing patterns and learn from new data over time. D. They are manually coded to flag specific violations only. Answer C. They adapt to changing patterns and learn from new data over time. Explanation. Anomaly detection systems use machine learning and AI to spot unusual patterns without predefined rules. Unlike static rule-based systems, they can detect novel or evolving fraud behaviors, e.g., layering and money laundering, that might otherwise go unnoticed. This dynamic capability makes them suitable for high-volume digital environments. Question 30. Ms. Delgado, a finance officer at a nonprofit, regularly downloads donation data from the cloud. One day, she accidentally opens a malicious attachment from a spoofed supplier email, encrypting the donation files and locking users out of the system. The attackers demand $1 million in cryptocurrency. What type of cyber fraud has occurred, and what should the organization do first? A. This is phishing, and the organization should pay immediately. B. This is a malware alert. The organization should reformat all systems. C. This is a ransomware attack. The organization should activate its incident response plan. D. This is a fake threat. Deleting the file is sufficient. Answer C. This is a ransomware attack. The organization should activate its incident response plan. Explanation. This is a ransomware attack, a form of digital extortion involving data encryption and ransom demands. According to NIST SB 861 and other incident response frameworks, the first response should be activation of a formal incident response plan, including isolating infected systems, notifying cybersecurity teams, preserving evidence, and avoiding payment unless legally approved. Paying may violate anti-money laundering, AML, or anti-terrorism financing laws depending on jurisdiction.